Fam, I need you to pay attention, yeah? Because what I'm about to say is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Nuts. Loco. You know? Insane. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Are you ready? China is making a new internet god, and the world's about to turn into a Black Mirror episode, mate. So before we get into how China's turning the world into Black Mirror, it's important for you to understand that communism came to China in 1961 through a guy called Mao Zedong. Now, he installed atheism as the overarching belief of the country. This was done to unify China, take away agency from individuals and small groups, and most importantly, to stop the influence of domestic and foreignly exported religions. Totalitarianism, fam, yeah? Totalitarianism. You need to learn these words, fam. Education is the key to success. Don't forget. Major key alert! So to put it in perspective for you guys, China today is the country with the most atheists in the world. It's around 67% of the country identify as atheist. That's around 1 billion people, fam. 1 billion. Hey, somebody needs to call Bill Maher up and tell him to move to China. Gonna have a nicer time, I'll tell you that.
Schlemiel, schlemazel, e pluribus mumbo jumbo.
And the current leader, Xi Jinping, even said that for any Chinese citizen to join his party, the ruling Communist Party, that they also need to be atheist. That's a bit peak, fam, because I can't join. But I love China. Word. But now, China is taking social totalitarianism to a whole new level. You see, whatever you may think of religion, it's a way to assess morality. Basically, a way to make people conscious of what's right and what's wrong. But man like China are making a completely new moral spectrum. How? Well, this is where it gets interesting, fam. You see how you give your information voluntarily? People like Google, Facebook, Uber, Amazon, and WhatsApp, well, they keep your information in return for their services. Or they can even sell it to other companies. You see, that's the logic that gave us the whole Cambridge Analytica problem, and man like Mark Zuckerberg getting grilled by the US Senate. I'd like to apologize on behalf of Facebook. I just wanted a girlfriend in university. I ended up becoming the Julius Caesar of the internet, and I took all your information, and I got Trump in office. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, bro, you see, that problem is called big data, fam, yeah? Big data, big data. Learn these words, fam. I told you, education is the key to success. Major key. But China isn't using big data to sway elections, fam. They're creating a social credit system. A social credit system, fam. And so, the Black Mirror episode begins.
No!
But you invited me.
You've seen the guest list. They are all like 4.5 or above. They are going to freak at a 2.6. And I am not taking that kind of damage. Plus, I haven't dipped under a 4.7 in like 6 months.
So let's start with the basics, fam. The Chinese government is working with 8 companies that include the likes of Alibaba and WeChat, which is like WhatsApp, except it has 850 million users, to gather everyone's information and assess them socially. And this is how it works, fam. Everybody gets 100 points registered to their ID card. And if you do good things, like volunteer for charity, kiss the government's ass, and send positive messages about China, then your score goes up. And if you do bad things, like jaywalk, oh my God, you're jaywalking? I just want to make it clear, this show doesn't condone jaywalking. Of course we do, fam. What's wrong with you? Also, if you say bad things about the government, then your score goes down, fam. And to be honest, what's good and what's bad is very subjective, fam. In the sense, say you have a wife and kids, right? And you're sitting in the house, you're a bit bored, you leave the house, you go buy some video games and some junk food. Well then, you might be seen as irresponsible and your score will go down. And say the same guy, right? Leaves the same house, goes to the same shop and buys organic food and some Pampers for his baby, well then, he'll be seen as responsible and his score will go up. Now let's make it clear, we call bull on this whole thing. Because what gives you the legitimacy and audacity to lower someone's social existence based on what he or she buys or what they post, fam? And as a wise man once said, don't tell me how to live my life. Don't tell me how to live my life. Yalla, I'm throwing a dab in it for free, yalla. What's even more dangerous about all of this stuff is that now people won't only get assessed based on their own behavior, but what their friends are doing. And this is what's called gamified obedience. Gamified obedience, yeah? Learn these words, fam, before I go Bruce Lee on your ass, bro. Bruce Lee on your ass, bro. So basically, they're turning our existence into a game, fam. Because you see, if one of your friends posts something that makes the government angry, you'll either tell them off or delete them. And you see, this is the worst thing about this whole system. It's the consequences. Because there's no heaven or hell here. Shit gets real quick. China has already barred 6 million people from traveling based on social misdeeds. And that's the trap. You see, when you start getting high points, you get things like free gym membership, access to the best jobs, to the best education. But if you're doing shit, fam, you're gonna get slow internet, you can't travel, you can't go to the best schools, you can't get the best jobs, you can't even go to good restaurants, fam.
I was shocked that they said he ate too many crab legs.
Now, a real-life example of what's going on in China is this guy called Li Zhaolin, who is a lawyer. And in 2015, he was critical of the government on social media, and as a consequence, he couldn't buy a plane ticket to travel, and he couldn't apply for any credit cards. And Li Zhaolin isn't alone, because by 2020, there'll be 1.4 billion Chinese people on the system. And if you've ever heard of the term dancing with the devil, well, here it is. You basically have a communist government working with multinational corporations to create a new god in an atheist country. So totalitarianism married materialism, gave birth to deism, and now an intra-god. What's going on, fam? And just in case you haven't noticed, fam, 60% of all shoes in the world are from China. 70% of all mobile phones in the world are from China. 80% of all air conditioners in the world are also from China. By the way, thank you, China. But what I'm trying to get at here is that it's not too far-fetched to think that one day the world will also adopt the social credit system from China. And what I have to say about that is, don't tell me how to live my life. Don't tell me how to live my life. But seriously, I have bad friends, I love jaywalking, I eat a lot of junk food, and I play a lot of video games. King of FIFA, fam. So fam. Can't live in China. Not in 2020 anyway. But again, don't forget, don't tell me how to live my life. Don't tell me how to live my life. Don't tell me how to live my life. Go watch some TV.